Yes, and I respect that. But my client has a championship to contest. So if you want our participation, I'm afraid the concessions are mandatory. Yes, that's fine. Get back to me when you can. Goodbye. No one ever just signs the contract. Anyway, thanks for coming by on such short notice. I just needed to cover a couple of quick things with you before you race. Firstly, as requested, there's a copy of your contract. It's a rolling deal. However, the team reserves right of termination if you fail to meet performance standards. You're second driver for now, but work hard, hit your targets, and I'll be able to sweeten the deal. I'm also looking to get you into some invitational events throughout the season. The experience and exposure from these will be great for your image. Plus, you'll get to drive some nice historic cars. Now then, go get ready for the next session, and good luck.
Welcome to our viewers from around the globe. You join us just as today's practice session for the Australian Grand Prix is about to start. An opportunity here then for the drivers to learn the track and learn the car, and of course work out all the little kinks that show up when the teams put these cars together at the circuit. Anthony Davidson, this is all very familiar to you of course, so why don't you give us an idea as to what the drivers will be getting up to in these sessions?
I'd say the first responsibility for drivers during pre-practice is in gathering data for correlation purposes, which allows the engineers to match real-life data against the simulation. Secondly, the driver then needs to dial themselves into a circuit that they may not have driven around for a full year, which is a fact that's often overlooked. And then you finally focus on the details of car setup and the tyre wear. It's critical to have a good relationship with your engineer here so they can make the right adjustments at the right time to the car that ultimately bring out the performance you're looking for.
This year we've seen the introduction of the somewhat controversial T-wing and shark fins, which are designed to increase downforce.
In the unforgiving world of Formula One, free practice sessions are a vital part of any Grand Prix weekend. During your F1 career, you'll be able to utilise these sessions to complete practice programmes which will help you learn the track and earn you points that can be invested in developing your car. You'll also be able to adjust your car setup over the course of these sessions to try and find those extra fractions of a second.
Morning, Jeff here. I'm looking forward to working with you as your race engineer. Hope you've had a good night's sleep because we've got a lot of work to do today to prep for the season ahead. We're ready to fire up the car, so why not head out and get a few laps under your belt?
As all the cars are now over the line, your top three again are Hamilton, Bottas and Daniel Ricciardo. That's it for practice then. We'll see you again soon.
You got my message. Perfect. Welcome to Home Away from Home. We get more real-time data from the factory now than ever before, and it all comes through here. So I have to spend more time checking over the reports and less time hunting you down in the hospitality suite. To that end, Sorry, just a sec. Yeah, Chris, is this important? I'm in the middle of something. Oh, okay. Right. Well, that makes no sense. Have Sarah reset the simulation and run it again. Okay. Sorry about that. As I was saying, we've set up a desk for you at the front here. You can get onto the network from your laptop, so make sure to check the R&D screen regularly. And let us know how you want to use the data that we've collected over the weekend and through the practice programs. Also, bear in mind that the news from the factory won't always be good. Sometimes tests fail, like you've seen just now. And when that happens, we have to divert additional resources to fix it. C'est la vie, I'm afraid.
Marks double world champion Fernando Alonso's 16th year race.
Quick look at the classification at the end of the session then. Here are your top three: Bottas, Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton. Thank you for joining us for...
Guess who made the gossip columns this morning? Everyone's talking about this new rival you have. Check his stats out.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. This is the kind of track that eats rear tyres for breakfast, or so I'm told by more experienced drivers than myself.
Lots of low-speed exits means the rears are in for a lot of punishment. It's all too easy to spin them up coming out of a corner too aggressively. It might look great for us as spectators, as we love to see a car driven beyond its limits, but it's not going to result in a great long-run pace.
Wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top three. A Ferrari, Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Hey, how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
It's out with the old and in with the new here at Albert Park as we usher in what we hope will be a triumphant new era of Formula One racing. For our drivers, though, it's very much business as usual, as they look to be first across that line and get their championship off to a winning start. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, all closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy racing surface with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake, but a couple of good passing opportunities as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into Turn 1 and Turn 3. Today's race, of course, not simply the start of a new season, but the start of a new kind of Formula One. Anthony Davidson, great to have you with us once again. This is a big moment for the sport, big changes to the technical regulations, the potential perhaps to give us the biggest shake-up since 2014. Very different cars visually and, fingers crossed, much faster as well.
Good thing then that combined these teams put in just a shade over 13,000 kilometres on the clock during testing. The cornering speed of these new machines is absolutely unbelievable. How many lap records are still held by Michael Schumacher from 2004? Well, on the right day, on the right tyres, we might just be threatening them this year. Wider tyres, wider cars, more downforce. I have to say they look great, and the qualifying spectacle is undebatable. Now the big question remains, can they follow? Can they race? Or have these new rules gone too far?
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. It's Ferrari in pole position then, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Bottas, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen, Massa, Perez, Grosjean and Nico Hülkenberg, Ocon, Sainz, Lance Stroll and Kvyat, Magnussen, Palmer, Fernando Alonso and Stoffel van Dorn, Wehrlein and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
First race of the season and you're on pole. Let's bring home a win today. Start phase. Now let's build on it. The damage only looks minor.